So is artificial intelligence about to completely replace the traditional software project manager, right? It's a highly provocative question. And honestly, if you're managing software teams right now, it's probably the one keeping you up at night. Because, ready or not, we are witnessing a massive, fundamental shift in exactly how software projects are planned, executed, and delivered.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going to bridge that gap between high-level academic theory and the real-world, highly technical applications. We'll be diving into the frameworks that are driving this AI transformation in software project management, and then we're going to roll up our sleeves and look at how developers are actually integrating these tools on the ground right now.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the AI project management shift, map AI across the project lifecycle, test out some out-of-the-box AI assistants, build a custom Copilot agent, and finally, look at the real-world AI hurdles. Let's dive into part 1, the AI project management shift. Think about it. For decades, project managers have basically relied on past records and, honestly, a whole lot of gut intuition. But human intuition, it just can't keep up with today's massive data complexity. Enter the AI-augmented Agile framework. Instead of just guessing who should do what, we now have algorithms analyzing historical data to spot hidden patterns. They generate sprint objectives based on real-time feasibility and even offer mitigation strategies on the fly. It's a total game changer. It transforms decision-making from being reactive to relentlessly proactive. And the industry isn't just walking toward this, they are literally sprinting. We are looking at a projected 29% compound annual growth rate for robotic process automation within these management sectors. Teams are rushing to automate just to keep pace. Let's be real. If you aren't automating, your competitors definitely are.
Moving right along to part 2, AI across the project lifecycle.
Let's actually map this out, phase by phase. In the initiation phase, machine learning steps in to forecast outcomes and flag risks way before you even start. Then, during execution, intelligent automation takes over to minimize human error and just keep things moving smoothly. When we get to monitoring, anomaly detection catches weird trends early on so you can pivot if you need to. And finally, at closure, natural language processing completely automates your documentation. The whole shebang is a complete, data-driven overhaul from day one.
But, here's the catch. You can't just plug these predictive models in, walk away, and hope for the best. To keep these models reliable for predicting risks and schedules, we really have to lean on MLOps, machine learning operations, combine software engineering, DevOps, and data science to automate model retraining. Because in dynamic project environments, data shifts and models drift. MLOps ensures version control, reproducibility, and real-time dashboard tracking. That way, the AI guiding your multi-million-dollar project doesn't suddenly start giving you terrible advice based on last year's data.
Okay, part 3, out-of-the-box AI assistants. So recently, Microsoft dropped a new add-on, the AI Work Item Assistant for Azure DevOps. Developer Danny Cahill actually demonstrated exactly what this looks like on the ground. Once you configure it with your Azure OpenAI endpoints, you can feed this assistant a bunch of context, like your business process flows, requirement docs, user personas, all of that. From there, it's got some really impressive capabilities. You can ask it to generate 10 project epics based on an uploaded document, and boom, it instantly populates a beautifully formatted list of draft epics, complete with generated descriptions. Think about how many hours of manual data entry that literally just saved. It can even scan existing features and propose child items, or summarize those endlessly long comment discussions to just highlight the key decisions. But hey, let's step out of academic utopia for just a second. What actually happens on the bleeding edge? Well, you get errors. Actually, scratch that. You get glitches. While generating those exact epics, Danny Cahill noted, randomly, of course, we got the error message. He had to manually hit regenerate just to finally get his results. So while these out-of-the-box tools are super promising, they still glitch out. They require a user with a ton of patience who really understands that this tech is still, finding its footing. Which brings us to part 4, building custom Copilot agents. So developer Todd Robertson decided to tackle a question every single PM asks literally every day. What are the items in the current sprint? He exported his 13 Azure DevOps sprint items into an Excel file, imported into the Dataverse, and asked his Copilot Studio Knowledge Agent to just list them out. And the out-of-the-box method completely failed him. It missed half the items, and when pushed, it straight-up hallucinated non-existent design tasks. It confidently combined fact with total fiction, which really proves that when absolute precision is required, off-the-shelf AI just isn't ready for prime time. So, to actually get the truth, Todd had to bypass the AI's little guessing game entirely. He built a custom flow. Now, the user asks for a sprint. The flow hits the Azure DevOps API directly, parses the JSON, does the math itself, and hands a perfectly accurate summary back to the agent. He essentially fired the AI from data retrieval and kept it strictly as a conversational mouthpiece. Pretty smart, right?
All right, finally, part 5, the real-world AI hurdles.
Look, if you're trying to implement this at your own company, these hurdles are probably going to sound incredibly familiar. High implementation costs really restrict scaling, especially for smaller businesses that just can't afford the heavy infrastructure. Then you have data privacy and security, massive concerns when you're feeding vast amounts of proprietary project data into AI models, especially if you're in regulated fields like healthcare or banking. There's also deep organizational resistance to change. Managers and staff naturally fear job displacement, or they just plain don't trust automated decisions. And finally, integration with existing systems. Legacy tools just don't always play nicely with modern AI, which leads to high costs and some seriously lengthy, complex technical workarounds.
And, as Microsoft Learn reminds us regarding Azure DevOps, all of this fancy AI data, the predictive risk models, the generated epics, the real-time sprint queries, it's absolutely useless unless it is built into actionable dashboards. You could literally have the most advanced, custom-built AI engine in the entire world, but if it doesn't feed into a clear, actionable dashboard tailored to the signed-in user, it's just really expensive noise.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for you and your organization. The tech is here. Yes, it's imperfect, it definitely requires custom wrangling, and it faces some very real implementation hurdles. But it is undeniably transforming how software is built. So, what does this all mean for you? Is your team ready to embrace this AI transformation, or are you kind of stuck in those manual processes of the past? It might just be time to take a hard look at your workflows, because the era of intuition-based project management, it is rapidly coming to a close. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.